So let's finish our discussion about developments by bringing back globalization, right? So where are we today, right? Essentially, is there's a lot of problems with how countries can develop as they plug into world markets, because world markets create losers as well as winners, and it appears that developed countries continue to win and developing countries continue to lose, right? There has been some gains in terms of people being lifted out of poverty, but not at the rate in which we would see general growth around the world. So in some, there's still a distribution problem for the world. Okay. So how do we go about improving the living standard of those who are still stuck at poverty level, right? And so what we've tried to do so far is understand how and why countries have failed or succeeded in developing so far. So again, we've talked about international factors and we've talked about domestic factors. International factors, we've talked about, well, colonial history. We really can't do much about that. We talked about natural resource wealth. Not really much we can do about that as well. But thirdly is we can look at international institutions. International institutions do generally favor developed countries. And so we may want to look at redesigning or rewriting some of the rules for these international institutions so that the developing countries have a fairer chance. So recently we've seen the IMF and the World Bank make some efforts to reform and address these issues, okay? But probably as domestic factors probably matter more. And then again, these are the incentives that governments have to invest in public goods. And so we can think about how international organizations or other countries can work with these countries to increase their incentives to invest in public goods. And that might come down to foreign aid and thinking about ways that we can condition foreign aid on what the money is being spent for. But I think there's going to be some sort of new solutions. There needs to be new solutions in which that need to be derived in order for governments to change their incentives and how they put resources towards public goods. So again, domestic interests hinder economic progress. And so you might think about possibly pushing more democracies might be a way to increase developments as democracies are more likely to invest in public goods. Okay. And again, still look at some of the success stories, such as South Korea and other Eastern Asian countries that have been able to develop despite some of the international obstacles. And so those are the sort of the key components of understanding the variance in institutions and development.